Hi, everyone. We are live with Jay Bayne. Welcome.
Hey, how are you? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, and sorry, guys, Christina couldn't make it. She's helping a friend out today, but we are so happy to have you on. And it was fun chatting beforehand just about how Jay got into this whole business and all of that. So we'll go into that. But real quick, I just wanted to say just my thoughts are with everyone in California right now. I just cannot believe everything you guys are going through. And oh my gosh, seeing all of your pictures and just like so many people have had to evacuate and, all of our thoughts are with you guys. I'm so sorry you're going through all that.
There wasn't enough going on already, right?
I know, this year.
It's been such a terrible year.
Oh my gosh.
Those 2020 suck t-shirts are selling real well right about now.
Geez, it has just been crazy.
Yeah.
So for everyone, and then everybody with the first week of school, thoughts are with all of the teachers out there and all of the parents dealing with all of this. My stepson's a senior this year, so it's like a little hard to not be in school, but at least like it's not hard for him to be on the computer learning. Like it's not, I can't imagine with like little kids trying to get them to pay attention and stuff.
Wearing the face mask, sanitizing, cleaning everything up. Both my daughters, they selected to do in school, but it's 50% are attending and 50% are doing online, and it's all whatever the parents choose. And so my kids, of course, having daddy homeschool them for 3 months at the end of last school year, they couldn't wait to get out of the house. So, and honestly, I'm kind of glad they're out too, and they need to be around their friends. But it's face masks, it's social distancing. Lunch is very different. Everybody's spaced apart, and the schools have done a great job in making sure that everybody's safe. So let's see how this all works out.
Yep.
Fingers crossed.
I know. Jeez. Well, thank you guys for everyone who's making the time to still somehow be here to watch the show, even with everything else going on. We really appreciate all of you guys. And I'm so excited for tonight. I already told Jay, I'm like, I've got my notebook ready. I don't know if I will be able to write and talk at the same time, but Jay's just been someone that I've sort of followed from afar. We've never really talked before, but he's always inspirational. So
kind of surprising, actually. I'm surprised we haven't talked before now, but I'm glad I'm here now. And I know, and the thing is, I mean, for everyone that's tuning in, if that's what they even call it anymore, Helen has been chasing me for it's got to be at least 6 months that you approached me the first time and said, hey, you want to be on the show. And of course I was thinking, what, little old me, really? I mean, I'm just doing this part-time, and there's people that are putting way better numbers up on the board than I am. But I think, the central theme was, you're able to do it along with a full-time job and be somewhat successful with it. But she was very patient with me because I had to, at my day job, for those of you that don't know, I work for a winery, and they have, requested me to get a certain type of certification called CSW, which is Certified Specialist of Wine. And it's a 328-page textbook that I had to read 3 times and basically memorize over the last 6 months. So that's what I've been doing with every spare moment of my life. I mean, I really haven't even been on Facebook all that much, check in here and there, but it's been about that. And I took the test a couple of weeks ago, and I told her, as soon as I'm done with the test, you got me. So here I am. I passed the test, and now I'm here. So yeah, thanks.
Well, I love that story where you're like, well, little old me, like being on the show. It's so funny how everyone feels that way. Like you're so successful, and you don't even think that you are. And it's the same with me. Like in the beginning, anytime I would ask anybody to be on the show, I had this like enormous long paragraph, like, I'm Helen and this is our YouTube channel. Like just assuming that the person had no idea who I was. And eventually people got offended because they were like, of course I know who you are. And I was like, really? Like, so with you, I was like, should I do a whole long drawn out paragraph about who I am? I'm like, I'll just say, would you like to be on the show? And you knew who I was. And it's like,
you're already Facebook famous.
It's one of those things where I'm just like, how would he know who I am? But it's like, it's just, people are just insecure. It's just how it is. So many people I've asked to be on the show, and a lot of people are just too they just can't do it because it's just too scary to be on to begin with. So thank
Yeah.
you for at least like coming on the show, and really,
Sure.
really
I'm happy to
appreciate
do
it.
it. I really am. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
been, as I'd mentioned, it's been a long time since I've been on any kind of Zoomcast, webcast.
Yeah.
I love this StreamYard thing. This is way better than when I used to host shows for my old Facebook group, which was Scanner Monkey, now Scanner Society. And, you know, it was really more about Amazon FBA and physical products and sourcing and all that. So
Nina knows you from that. She says a familiar face from Scanner Monkey days.
How you doing, Nina? Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah. Good times, good time. I mean, I was funny because I was looking at some old Facebook posts today, just getting nostalgic, and I had forgotten that Scanner Monkey started in 2013. It was like 7 years ago. It seems like forever ago, but I mean, time has really flown by. And for those first couple of years where, you know, we were trying to build up our group, you're like what, 11,000 with merch money, I think 11,000 plus.
Look at you. You know our numbers.
Research.
It was under 10,000 until I'm pretty sure it was not until the pandemic hit that we got over 10,000. Like the last few months, it's just grown so fast, and it's so funny because we haven't been posting. Like both Christina and I have been just like, I don't know what it was. Like once the pandemic hit, it was kind of just like you almost just wanted to retreat. It was kind of between the pandemic and between the election. It was just kind of like, I don't really want to be on Facebook. So we both like haven't been working nearly as hard as we did before, but it's been growing so much faster. So it's one of those like weird things where you're like, really? Like I don't post anything and the group grows, and then I worked so hard and it like crept by.
I totally agree. I mean, I honestly, I think I've probably spent more time on the funny meme groups than I have any of the helpful groups, you know, just like, okay, laughter is the best medicine. We're all going through a tough time right now. I mean, and then to compound that, I tore my Achilles tendon a few months back. So, I mean, I was laid up, like I couldn't drive because it was my right foot. So for 2 months, I was just like in prison here, you know, it's, you know, even light desk duty with my day job. And I mean, I'm thankful I work for a winery that's very understanding, and they didn't furlough any of their employees. So
we both have our wine.
Here we go. Cheer. Put it up to the camera there.
There we go.
To you. We're both drinking Gallo wines, by the way, which is a coincidence.
He asked me what wine I have, and then he's like, wait, that's one of our wines.
Yeah, so I'm drinking the Abstract tonight by Orrin Swift. I never know which way to.
I know.
So enjoying that. But so I've been kind of avoiding a little social media here and there too, and my daughters keep pushing me on. I noticed you put some stuff on in your group about TikTok, which I was kind of surprised to see in your group, because it's like, okay, what's the application here for t-shirts? Like how, but I mean, I don't think that's what you're going for. You're more of like build an audience versus like, I'm going to sell, you know, these COVID-19 quarantine t-shirts or whatever. But it's both.
It's just like how Facebook and Instagram and everything else started, where it's like, how could you, like, I didn't even understand how it could ever be a business when Mark Zuckerberg first started it. I was in college. I think I'm the exact same age as him, maybe like a year younger, but I think we're the same age. So it never occurred to me it could be a business, because I'm like, this is just like, you know, a thing where you just, you know, talk to friends. But then it started being where everybody was loud on. It started where it's just college students. And then it was one of those things like, oh, geez, let me make sure I don't have any crazy pictures up here. Like now my mom and grandma and everybody else is on. But TikTok's the same way, where it started with all, you know, kids and college kids and things like that. And now it's just everyone. I mean, when I
honestly thought it still was, because the only thing I see, my daughters are obsessed. Both my 11-year-old and my 15-year-old, they spend 90% of their online time in that magic box with TikTok. And every time for 2 months, I never understood. I'd always hear this thing in the background, and I'm like, am I going nuts? That thing that the little tune they play before it's the countdown where the video starts. It's like, ding. And I'm like, what is that? It's driving me nuts, And finally, Carrie goes, "That's the start of my video, Dad." I was like, "What video? What are you doing?" And then she's like, "Watch." And then she started doing the whole,
Oh,
dance
geez.
thing that all the kids do. My
Yeah.
daughter's a dancer already, so she's like already naturally talented. Certainly not from my side of the family. And I watch the videos that they watch, and they're just so asinine. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. How is this entertaining? And they're like, well, you don't even understand that. So I kind of thought that's what all TikTok was about. But then you started talking about, Gary Vaynerchuk and, all these other people that are on there. So I may start getting into it,
It's similar to how we were talking before the show about how, we both knew Chris Green. And then because he was so involved in the Amazon world, as soon as Merch by Amazon came out, before there was any proof if it would work or not, he immediately knew it was an opportunity because he just knew the Amazon world. And it's kind of like that with social media. Once you kind of understand social media, every time there's a new platform, it's very quick to see okay, it starts with kids, then it gets to, teenagers, then it gets to 20-year-olds, then it gets to 30-year-olds, and then it's just this progression.
And once Facebook is completely out of there, they don't even get on that anymore. Instagram and TikTok,
once you get all the celebrities on, it's kind of it just blows up from there. So when I did that post of Gary V, first it was just Gary V. Then later I did another post because we had someone who was an expert at TikTok on the show. So I did another post later and I'm like, all right, guys, now it's when celebrities are getting on. Cause at that time, all the celebrities were starting to join TikTok. So I'm like, okay, now it's mainstream. And then once all the celebrities have been on for the past 6 months to a year, and now, right now, it's all the 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds, everybody's starting to get on. So now it's fully mainstream. But it took over a year to get to this point. So right now it's everywhere. It's adults. It's everyone is on it now. But those people
Jacob Topping is saying 90 million plus US monthly active users. That's impressive. How you doing, Jacob? Long time no talk.
Yeah.
Jacob's the man.
But those people that did it that whole first year that I was posting about it, now they have enormous followings. And I knew it, but it was at the same, I knew it was a great opportunity, but I couldn't quite I was kind of like you, where I just couldn't quite get myself to post the videos and grow the audience because it is so different. I know how to do a Facebook post. I know how to do a YouTube show, but trying to figure out how to do those 30-second videos, I was like, I just can't quite get myself. I did 3 or 4. I did 3 or 4 posts. And I have 60 followers. I couldn't quite figure it out. But RJ did. RJ is building up a big following.
RJ Martinez is doing it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, RJ's good at that kind of stuff. But I mean, I will say my exposure to it, again, through my daughters, I haven't really had a chance to just play around with it. Although I think I will just get on my own computer, set up my own account, do it without them watching because they're going to want me to do dumb stuff. It's like, Dad, if you get in the video dancing with me, I'll get way more views because you'll look ridiculous. And I was like, well, thank you.
Do it with them. I did one with my stepson and one of his friends. I did it. It's fun, bonding with the kids, and they love it.
I'm still crippling around. I'm gimping around with my. I got my cast off, I got my boot off, but I still am kind of limping a little bit. So I don't.
It'll make it even better.
Up the dancing speed yet.
It'll make it even better.
But it's amazing to me that I look at, because they have some different things that they do, and something may be 15 seconds long, and they're just lip syncing to a song. And I look at it, and it's like, you got 500 likes on that? That's why you can make
so much money with TikTok, because so many people see it. So I see all the time these influencers, and it's not like Instagram and YouTube where it took years to get to influencer status. These people are getting to influencer status in 1 or 2 months.
It's hyper speed.
People are asking them where they got their shirt, where they got this, where they got that. Already, you can tell they're already making so much money because everybody's asking them these questions, and they just post where they got it. Or they set up little websites. Chris Green is really good at this, about setting up a little, a one-page, whatever, Halloween.com or whatever, a simple, easy website to remember. And then you just put the t-shirts under that. So when you're talking on TikTok, be like, go to xyz.com and get this shirt I'm wearing. So yeah, people have already made a lot of money on TikTok, and it's growing very, very fast. And you can push people to YouTube or Instagram. So if it's easier to sell on a different platform, you can easily push your viewers over there.
Gotcha.
So,
all right.
yeah, Gary Vee's YouTube channel has also doubled in the amount of time that he started doing TikTok, because a lot of the TikTok people went over and followed him on YouTube. So he got an entire new generation, and his really good explanation of it. And I'm so sorry, guys, this was not meant to be the show. We will go back on track in a minute.
Conversation, be like, what are they doing?
But I'm excited about it, even though I'm not doing it. But anyway, what Gary Vee's explanation always is so important to get on every new platform, because you learn the language. Just like how you talk slightly different on text than you do in person or on the phone. Like, if you don't keep up with each new platform, you lose a little bit of the language. So like Instagram stories, if you don't know how to do those, then you're not going to know how to do TikToks. And if you don't know how to do, like, he was on Vine and things like that, like eventually those platforms go away. But so even if TikTok goes away, it's still a piece in the progression. Like, it's a time period of like learning. Like, okay, if you know how to do TikTok, you'll know how to do the next thing, and then you'll know how to do the next thing. If you skip all these things, it's really hard to go straight from a Facebook post to a TikTok video if you never did Facebook stories, or if you never did this or that or whatever.
Right.
So it's
I'm still catching up to Instagram. Instagram is like an integral part of my day job. They want us to be posting about events. A lot of what I do is I host wine tastings and wine dinners, and they want us to promote these things and gather an audience. And like my daughter, she can get on Instagram and she's like, well, then you got to do a boomerang, and then you can put like a banner here and a graphic there and a little guy screaming in the corner. And I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about, but like, I'm learning a lot from him, from her, with some of these technologies that, Instagram has been around forever, but it's been new to me. I've just never really got involved with it. So now I'm like pretty much into Instagram because I have to be for work. And it's getting to that point with a lot of companies. It's like, you have to be knowledgeable on building an audience, or at least conveying a certain thing about a certain product on Instagram. We're all expected to be part of this marketing team, So it's been a learning experience for me, and I'm sure TikTok is coming up. So anyways, let's talk merch.
Yeah, let's talk merch.
We're 15 minutes into this thing, and I want to talk merch. So yeah,
let's do it. So how did you get into merch to start with?
Chris Green. Same reason I got into FBA. And I think it's the same reason a lot of people got into FBA and a lot of people got into merch is, Chris is kind of like Gary. If he says this is the next big thing, it's going to be the next big thing. And so I actually was a late comer to this thing, late bloomer, whatever you want to call it. Chris told me, he's like, man, you gotta get on board with this thing. And I thought, well, I don't have Photoshop skills or Adobe Illustrator or anything like that. He's like, you don't need that. It's real simple text designs will sell, and there's real easy programs and blah, blah, blah. And so he talked me into it, and I did see the potential in it. So when I applied, I didn't get a response back for a while. And the email, as I was telling you before we got on here live, the email address that I use, I didn't check that often. So I was getting a little ticked off. It's like, man, it's been like 5-6 months and I still haven't heard anything back. And then it occurred to me that it's like, oh, wait, I'm going into the wrong email account. So I checked my email account, and like 4 months ago, it's like, hey, congratulations, you're approved for merch. So I've been approved for like 4, almost 5 months. I didn't even know it. So I got on, and I had a little help from a friend who I used to work with at Scanner Monkey to create like some rudimentary designs. And I actually created some Scanner Monkey shirts. And that's how I got through my first 25. I just like, hey, buy these Scanner Monkey shirts, show your Scanner Monkey pride for $13.07 or whatever. I think it was even lower, but it was like $11 and something.
$11, yep.
Yeah. And so like I sold 25 shirts in a day and teared up just because of the group. So I kind of cheated in a way. It's like I might as well just bought the shirts myself. And so that was March of 2017. And then I started working on just designs of things that I knew. So I'm already in the wine business, wine and spirits. I've been doing it for 24 years. And so I just did a lot of wine-based designs, and started to get a little frustrated because I wasn't really getting any sales. Like my first month, I made less than $80, I think. And I just started just diving in and listening to every podcast, webinar, YouTube video, whatever. And the thing that kept me going, honestly, was there's a guy named Michael Essick. I think a lot of people know who he is. He's a guy from England. He's got a really great Facebook group as well. He interviewed with Chris Green, and I honestly can't remember. I think it was Chris Green interviewing him. And so, I had at the time, maybe, I don't know, 50, 60 designs. And I'm like, why is this not selling? I mean, get like a sale here and there. And he said something that just kept me going. He said, when you start in merch, you need to go into it with the mindset that you're going to sell probably 1 out of every 10 shirts if you're lucky. And I thought, okay, all right. So it's a numbers game. So I started just cranking out different designs with the help of my friend. She knew a little bit more than I did. And so she was making this design. I was paying her per design. We were putting it up. And lo and behold, like a couple months later, I had this one wine shirt. Now I'll even tell you what it is, because it's since been copied a billion times. And it's, I can say I was the one that came out with the first one, but I started to look at things and figure out ways to make them about wine. And so my brother, who is like a guitar prodigy, he had this shirt that said "Celebrate Diversity," and it had like a Fender, a Gibson, and all these different types, Les Paul, all these different types of electric guitars on his shirt. And I go, I could do the same thing with wine. So I did Celebrate Diversity, but I did a glass of red, a glass of white, a glass of sparkling, a glass of rosé, and I put the shirt up. And like not even 24 hours, like cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching.
Awesome.
I mean, it exploded in like 24 hours. And within a week, I was selling, I'd say probably about a good 50 to 60 shirts a day. It was just that one shirt. And me being the idiot that I was, the newbie that I was at the time, I didn't think at all to like duplicate this, scale it, do anything with it. I was just kind of riding, on my, resting on my laurels there for a while. I was like, this is great. I was like, well, I'll make some other shirts, and just went off and did other things. Meanwhile, all these other people kept like jumping on and making different versions of it, different fonts, different, you know how it goes.
Right.
And like, before I knew it, I was like down to 20, down to 10, down to 1. And if I wasn't pricing it below $14, I wasn't selling it all, because there was just all these other people that got on. It still sells occasionally, like probably get like twice a month, which is, I have 24,000 shirts now. I'd be happy with twice a month on all of them, But that was the one that just like, okay, I'm going to keep trying to get these, knock them out of the park. And then I started listening to Michael Essick. He had his podcast and he had his show, and, he was talking about like all these different designs that he'd do and diversifying things. And just like, if you have 100 shirts that are selling, 1 shirt each a month, and then you just keep building on that. So then it's like, okay, so now I'm going to diversify. I'm not going to just do wine, but I did do other things that I knew. And, they were generally things that were related to my family. So my youngest daughter, why don't you just come say hi? Because
I was going to say, I'm like,
working over here. This is my youngest daughter. This is Kara.
Hi, Kara.
Say hi into the mic.
Hi.
So
I told your dad he should do a TikTok video with you.
No, don't listen to her. She said I should do a TikTok video with you. We talked TikTok for a while. So Kara is a cheerleader, and now she's a dancer. So I started doing a lot of cheer shirts and dancer shirts. She's been a dancer since she was 2, exactly.
Nice.
Started playing a little pot in the Wizard of Oz play, and now she's like hip hop queen. So now I do hip hop shirts.
How to make
dancer shirts. She helped me with a few designs. As a matter of fact, I had like this list of tips that if it came up, I could share with the group here. One of my tips was, if you have kids that go to a bus stop and you walk them to the bus stop, or even if you just want to walk with them anyways and embarrass them, ask the other kids what they'd like to see on a shirt. Yes. I have had so many shirt ideas from listening to these young creative minds. Like, I want a squirrel with a red panda riding on a unicorn and it says BFF forever.
Aww.
And I would put that up. Or like, she was into slime at the time. Slime was a big thing. Like, I made all these slime shirts. They started selling like crazy. So, all these little things that I would just like go to these cheer events, and I would talk to the other moms and the dads, and like, their daughter is not a flyer, but she's on base. And I started looking on Amazon. There's so many shirts that are about the girls that are holding up the pyramid,
Yeah.
the ones that are doing all the work on the foundation. So I made all these shirts about,
That's
being on the base, and then those started selling. And eventually they, became the merch choice or the Amazon choice, or what is it called again? Where it's
I think that's right.
Amazon selection. Yeah. So like, during Christmas, I was selling like 80, 90 a day of these shirts.
Wow.
And just because I knew the subject. So like, basically I just started with a couple of niches, niches, and I just kind of grew them exponentially from there to different things that I was interested in and different things that appeal to people here locally. Like, I'm in Houston. We are the center of industry for oil and gas. So I got all these oil and gas shirts, all these people that live in my neighborhood, they're oil and gas people. So we started talking about what terminology they use. And yes, you are going to school tomorrow. She didn't get to go to school today because she was sick, so we had to go do the COVID test.
Oh, I thought it was because you're on Merch Money Show. It's like holiday the next day.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, so I kind of built the business from there. Just working at full, part-time around my day job. I will say I spend an inordinate amount of time on the weekends. What I try to do is like we have a lot of late sleepers in this family, especially on the weekends. My wife, she'll sleep till 1 o'clock in the afternoon if I let her, and I do. So I'll get up early, and then all the kids are asleep. So I'll get up early, like 7, crank some designs out until like 1 o'clock, and then I'll get up and make everybody breakfast at 1 o'clock.
Aww.
And that's where I get a lot of work done as well. But just started out just being a one-man show. I get by from a little help from my friends. I have my one friend, and she just got, after a while, I was like, you know what, you should probably hire a VA because I'm just getting a little overwhelmed with all these requests. So, and I'm a bit of a control freak, so I think she was getting a little tired of me saying, well, why don't we try this and move this here? After 7 revisions, she's like, listen, you need somebody that can do a better job with this than I do. So that's when I started reaching out to, different VAs through like Online Jobs, PH, Fiverr, Upwork. My designer that's been with me the longest, I found him on Upwork. I think we're going on our 3rd year together. So he's been a staple of my design crew, and he's the one that does like kind of the more basic designs. He has some good graphics, but he's not a guy that can get on a Wacom tablet and illustrate things.
Okay.
And I started coming up with these ideas, these funky ideas that like, he's like, I can't even touch that. So I got on Online Jobs PH again, and I advertised for an illustrator. And, I had like, you get like 50 responses on this thing, and I had to kind of cut through them, and you've probably done some shows on this about hiring VAs in the past.
Go ahead. Any information you have, because we've talked about it a few times, but not too in depth. So by all means.
The first thing you do is you disqualify the ones that can't even follow the simple direction that you give them in the initial email. So it's like, respond back with your favorite rock band in the title. So if I get a response, it's like, hello, sir, I saw your email or your ad and I'm interested. I just delete that immediately. You didn't put your rock band in there. So the ones that have the rock bands, then I look at them and I look at their portfolio of work, and then I give them each a design to do. And I said, I'll pay you all $1 for this design to get started. And I want to see what you can do. I want you to make a Christmas design with an elf. And that is actually what I did because it was getting close to Christmas. Yeah. And I want you to design an elf, and I want you to have him taking a selfie, AKA Elfie. And I'm giving away my designs already.
I love it.
Yeah. So like, each of them did it, and it came down to like 3 people. It's like, man, these are all really good. So then I'd give them another one. Like, now let's do a dinosaur. Let's do this. And I would try to make them each a little bit more challenging. And then eventually the cream rose to the crop, or the cream of the crop rose. Yeah. And cream rose to the top. There you go. Cream of the crop rose to the top. And I found like this one guy that just did an incredible job on all of the things that I asked him to do. He exceeded my expectations, and I was showing him like designs from like, I think most of us are aware of like, I think it's LIQUE Leak. And, this guy's got thousands upon thousands upon thousands of designs, and they're all amazing, really good graphic artists team of graphic artists that he has hired. So I use that as, this is what I'm looking for. I want shading. I want 3 dimensions. And I was very meticulous about what I wanted. And this one guy, he just had it. So, I can't pay him the same that I'm paying my vector guy, because my vector guy can probably knock out 5 designs a day, which is pretty much what I have him do. 5 designs a day,
Yeah.
$5 a design. That's what I pay him. This guy, I pay him $10 for a single design, because sometimes it could take him 3 hours to make what it is I want him to make.
Right.
And so, like, hey, I want an ugly Christmas sweater, and I want this, and then blah, blah, blah. And he'll spend, like I said, 3 hours, and he'll send it back to me, and it's amazing. So
nice.
Once I started putting the more artistic stuff up, I realized, like, this is the way to go, because the vector ones are easy for people to do the P for P copies, and or they like take the font and they just put it into a different font. But if you get this guy's stuff and he's hand drawing everything, like, yeah, you can do a P for P, but it's really obvious when you do, and it's easier to find. And so, like, those two have been the staples of my team. And I've gone probably in and out of like a half dozen other VAs that, either they did work out, but they were just flaky, or they didn't work out because after a while, it's like, yeah, they're just not digging their work anymore. And I'd say, look, I'll give you another week to find something else, but this just isn't working out. So, I mean, there's a lot of that. It's just like the numbers game of merch. You have to put up a lot of designs, see what works. It may be 1 out of 10, it may be 1 out of 20, but you keep plugging at it. And I found 2 really good guys. And then eventually, after a couple of years, when I scaled up to like, 10,000, I was like, I really need some help listing. And so, I hit the online jobs PH, and I hit Upwork and all that, but I just didn't have much luck, because I just couldn't find the right person that really grasped the, A, the English language, and B, pop culture. Like, they're well spoken, but like, would they know to look for these certain keywords? And that's what it's all about, is finding the right keywords.
Right.
And so I just started asking around in like my mastermind groups and the big groups. And I said, hey, does anybody have somebody who helps them with keyword research and listing that they'd be willing to like share this person? Or maybe you let them go because you just can't afford to have like a bigger team, and you're trying to, furlough some people. This is kind of like the COVID term at this point.
Yeah.
And so one of the guys in my group's like, well, I have a guy that, he did really good work for me, but for whatever reason, things didn't work out between us. I'll give you his email address. And I sent him an email, and sure enough, I mean, he works part-time, actually writing like a ghostwriter for blogs.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, I mean, he's still in the Philippines, but like a really good grasp of the English language, and really knows, like, when he researches things, like, I can tell this guy's going to Wikipedia and finding stuff that I would have, like, I may have like a design with a statue on it, like a Greek statue on it. I do all kinds of funky artsy stuff. So one of them had like a Greek statue on it, and this guy found like the French name for this statue that I wouldn't have ever thought of. And like, when I started looking at what's bringing people into my ads, that was one of the keywords that brought him into the ads. So I was like, all right, this guy knows what he's doing, and he can string words together. So it's not just, cat shirt, dad cat shirt, cat mom, fur mama, like, where people just kind of up with commas, and he actually writes, elegant, eloquent sentences and paragraphs. And, a lot of the times I'll give him the brand names. Like, I'll start him off with that and say, I at least want this because I want to tie all these designs together under the same brand name. But other than that, he just does everything. It took me about a good, like, 3 weeks to get him trained just the way I wanted him. And I pay him like $1 per upload. And he just, what he does is he fills out a Google spreadsheet. Like, I communicate with all my people using Google spreadsheets or Google Sheets. So I have like this Google sheet that is massive. It's got like, I don't know, 18 tabs to it even when I get rid of a VA, I still keep the tab to refer back to, oh, this was design that I did back in May of 2017. I've still got it, right? And so, like, I communicate with everybody through Google Sheets and through Dropbox. I'll like drop files in Dropbox. Like, here's a picture that I took at a store of a particular T-shirt I like, but I want you to remix it this way and do that with it or whatever. I drop it in the Dropbox, share the Dropbox with them, and they say, okay. And then they redo that design however I want them to. But this guy, he basically, I'll send him 50 designs in the Dropbox file and say, here's the 50 designs I want you to research keywords, titles, bullets. In the description, I just have them copy the bullets into the description. And because I use this proprietary software that makes it easy for me to upload, where I'm not uploading one at a time, and I'm uploading just one spreadsheet, and then I just walk away and my computer just goes boop, 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 boop. And then it goes through like 27, 30, whatever, through US, UK, Germany, just uploads them all, resizes everything for me.
Which one are you using, just out of curiosity? Because
it's proprietary. Did you not hear me?
That's what I'd ask anyway. I'm always nervous, like, especially like having a Facebook group. Like I'm always so nervous to say the wrong things. Like I don't want anyone to ever have their account suspended based on something that I said.
Yeah.
So stuff like that, I just never talk about because I'm like, I don't know if it's allowed. Like, I don't know. Like I would love to do that because it would save so much time, but I still do one at a time. Like, I mean, now you can put it on all the different products and all the different countries, so it's technically 30 or 50 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I upload them manually myself without a VA.
Right.
But if
you can do that still with like I use Merchant Former Lister for a long time, and it's like really helpful. What I'm doing now is faster, but I'm not going to say it's like blazingly faster than Merchant Former Lister. I mean, I'm still copying and pasting, but instead of like with Merchant Former Lister, I'm copying the title over, I'm copying the brand over, I'm copying the bullets over, copying over the description, and then hitting it, and it like puts it on 27 different products, and that's great. But this other thing, I have my guy create the spreadsheet, and then there's a column at the end for file location. And it'll be, C:/ / merch to upload / and then it'll be what the design name is. Cat dad or whatever, cheer coach, cheer _coach. And so he knows that like, if that's the name of the design in Dropbox, that's the name that he needs to put after all the / in the beginning of the address. So he even puts the image files on there. So all I do is when he's done with these 50 is I'll just kind of quickly glance through them. I used to look through, micromanage every single listing, and it's like, okay, make these correct. Now it's like I just barely glance at it because I just trust him now. Yeah. And I say, okay, this is all good, and I just copy that whole sheet from those 50 rows down, and I put it onto a template, and then I go into the software and I just upload, and it just does everything for me. Again, it's a little faster than Merchant Former Lister, and I believe Productor might do it, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if anybody uses that.
I've seen that option where you can upload a spreadsheet. I haven't tried it because I'm just
but I didn't use Productor because it just, for whatever reason, and it just maybe because I'm not the most tech savvy guy on the planet, it was sucking bandwidth, and it wasn't working quite right for me, and it just may have been my setup or whatever. And I'm not bad mouthing Productor. I know a lot of people that love it, but it just wasn't working for me personally. So there was a guy in one of my mastermind groups that he had a solution that he kind of just wrote for a few friends. But like I said, you may want to try Productor. Definitely try Merchant Former Lister. It makes things so much quicker when you have like all your shirt colors checked and all your, or you can even set up a template where it's like, I'm doing all of these cheer shirts. They're all going to have the same brand name. So you set up a profile just for cheer shirts or for wine shirts or for whatever. So, but anyways, so just because I'm doing this part-time, I'm looking for any opportunities to find shortcuts. Yeah. I do it myself for a while. I learn how to do it, and then I teach somebody else to do it, whether it's a design or if it's now listing. My next step, everybody's like, you got to get on OrbitKit because I'm starting to pan out into Redbubble and TeePublic. I do a little bit on Etsy, but Etsy, like I put on vacation when I was studying for CSW because it can be a bit of a time suck with all the customer service.
I put it on vacation like a year or maybe even 2 years ago, and it's I've never taken it off vacation. I know people love Etsy.
Your store is there, just been on this permanent vacation, right?
At some point, I'll probably undo it, and it'll be account for 4 years with 100 sales or whatever. Because I'll
go back to college after 5 years in Europe, sure, and you had the best intentions, but it just doesn't always work out that way. I keep saying I'm going to go back because it's a good niche store.
It's just not my thing.
I started doing face masks on it, and they were like selling like hotcakes.
They
But
fast
then they
on
changed
Redbubble.
their manufacturer, so I started getting bad reviews. So I just shut it all down.
Yeah.
Like, I need to fix that. So I took all those. I mean, and I had like, I didn't have a ton. I had like 80 listings on there that were face masks, but I had a couple that were just like, I had one that had a cat, like it was a picture of a cat on the face mask, and the cat was also, he was wearing a face mask.
Aww.
And so like, I didn't realize how many cat lovers there were on Etsy. So it's like, I was like, okay, well, I'm got to scale it. So black cat, calico cat, Persian cat. So like all these cats, and those things started selling well. And so, and again, it was like, I got these great reviews on it at first, but then something changed. They didn't do as many layers. It was shoddy quality. And I got like my first bad review, and like, I responded back, I'm refunding your money. And, let me take a look at this. And like, before I knew it, I had like 4 or 5 other bad reviews, and I went from a perfect 5-star down to like 4.5. And I was like, all right, shutting it down. And so, I think I will get back on it maybe before Christmas and just do shirts and try to automate it again. Because I was using Printful, but of course with COVID, they were having all kinds of delays, and so I started using Shirtly. Then they started having delays, and so now I'm like using like 3 different companies and just kind of testing them against each other. But in the meantime, I started looking at like where I'm spending my time. Again, I'm part-time, so it's like I'm spending way too much time on this to make $1,000 a month, when I could be over at merch making $10,000 a month.
Yes.
And so it's like, I shifted my focus back to that, but I still now I did just hire another guy. So I got 4 people now. I hired another guy that, I believe it or not, and I have always been anti-Fiverr in terms of finding somebody permanent. Like if I want to make a logo, and I've had plenty of people make logos for me on Fiverr, and they've done a good job, but I've never hired anybody off of Fiverr.
Yeah.
But this is the only guy, because I have 200 and something Redbubble listings. And for whatever reason, I was like, why am I only selling like maybe 2-3 shirts a week? I feel like I should be selling more. They're really, all the artsy stuff is what I put on Redbubble. But what I didn't realize is that the artsy shirts, there's a ton of them on Redbubble, but I'm in a really like highly competitive niche that 50,000 people are using the same search terms. And I know I'm just bottom of the barrel versus people that have been doing this for like 10 years or however long Redbubble's been around. And so it was really more the competition. And so I started doing some other stuff on there, and I was like, well, I need to find somebody that really knows how to tag this stuff. I look at a lot of YouTube videos and I learned some things, but I went on Fiverr, and like, there's nobody that does that. There's one guy that like says, I will give you the best keywords on Redbubble to increase your sales. And, it wasn't that. I'm sorry. I will critique your store. So like, and it was like $10, $15, $20, they're cheap. I was like, how much? I sent him an email or a message. And I'm like, how much would it take for you to do 230 something shirts? And he was like, I'll do it for like $1 a shirt. I was like, done. Nice. So he did 230 shirts, redid all of them, redid all the titles. And I had like really long titles. He's like, you don't need to have these really long titles. And he's like, you need to use these keywords and not these. And he had certain kind of software that helped him. And so he did it. He did a good job. Now, are my sales up 100%? No. They're still dragging. And I think that's really more about the niche that I'm in. And I need to start doing more just pop culture stuff and some things that are already selling well on Redbubble. And there's ways to research that. So I haven't really got into that, but what I've been having fun with lately is I'm having this same guy create TeePublic listings for me, because I'm getting immediate results from TeePublic. I'm taking all my best sellers from Amazon and slowly moving them over to TeePublic. Now, TeePublic is like, never can know where to do this. So it's up and down. Up and down, it's a wave. So it's like, I'll have weeks where I'm like, you made a sale, you made a sale, you made a sale. And I'll get like 5 to 10 in a day. And then I'll have weeks where I won't make a sale until like the end of the week, and then I'll get like 2 or 3. Yeah. And I realized, I talked to somebody who's like, oh yeah, it's all tied into there. They have sales all the time, and most people know that. So it's like, when your shirt's $20, you're not selling as many, but then it's like everything gets marked down to 14. So instead of making $4, you're making $2 a shirt. And then that's when a lot of people are buying. I was like, well, hey, I'm fine with $2 if I'm selling a bunch. So I only have like 150 designs on there. And like last month I made $150. Nice. So, and I know it's not going to be like an exact correlation. Like if I get 10,000 shirts, I'll make $10,000. But, it was very encouraging, because I was on TeePublic for a year, or I'm sorry, Redbubble for a year before I really saw any kind of results. Like the first few months, I didn't sell anything, and I had like 100 designs up. So I just got frustrated with it. And then, like, for what I just walked away from it. A year later, for whatever reason, I guess the algorithm finally found me. The search algorithm finally found me. Then I started selling a little bit here and there. And then I got kind of encouraged to get back into it again, and, hired somebody to create more designs just for that. But, everybody has luck in different areas. And I've just been luckier with TeePublic for whatever reason. I think like more of my pop culture trending kind of thing. Quarantine is a big thing right now. The holidays, Halloween starting to sell really well right now. I've got some pretty unique Halloween designs. So, it's again, it's like merch. It's all numbers. And so with merch, and I really am telling a very long story about how I got started in merch, aren't I? I kind of just
no, I love this. I haven't even had to say anything.
This is the ADHD in me. I'm sorry, but
I love it. You're giving lots of good information. And Christine is agreeing with you about TeePublic. She says she has 26 designs up and makes multiple sales.
Yeah. And the thing is, you can, I almost hate to say this, but anti-racism, it's huge right now, obviously, with everything that's going on in our country. It's just tragic. And it's like, some people may look down on that. It's like, you're profiting off of, anti-racism sentiment, but I kind of look at it differently in that it's the messages that I'm putting on my shirts are positive messages. They're not putting down the white race or the black race. I'm not going, all lives matter or Black lives matter. I'm not doing any of that basic stuff. It's more like, let's all come together kind of thing. And it's different stuff that's not, there's just so many copycats on anti-racism stuff right now. So it's like, if you find something that is unique and different, that's a decent design, or a lot of them are just text-based, they sell. And so, and then, same thing with Black History Month, and February does very well. And June, of course, is Juneteenth. So like those shirts do really well on TeePublic as well. So then I started realizing, and I do a lot of cause marketing stuff too, awareness, I guess you could say. I don't necessarily like jump on breast cancer awareness, because that's been done to death with like 5 billion pink ribbon shirts. I mean, I have some up there just so I can say I tried it, but I find that like if you're in this massive saturated segment, you're just not going to do as well unless you have a truly original idea. And there's been so many original ideas on that. Right. So instead, it's like I go for things that are a little, lesser known, whether it's, I don't know, prostate cancer or, some type of something supporting. We just had like a women's suffragette, an anniversary not that long ago. I think it was like in March. So like the women's right to vote had their 100th year anniversary. So that was like a big seller for a while. And so things like that if you can get ahead of the curve, that do really well. And I'm surprised to find that I'm still selling those shirts, even though that anniversary is like come and gone, like, what is that, 5-6 months ago? Yeah. So,
and guys, that's a good tip, because I think a lot of people, they have chronic illnesses themselves, and they think of it as like, oh, that wouldn't sell on a shirt. But it's like, no, it does. Definitely. If you know about some kind of awareness thing, I mean, definitely, especially if you have it or know someone who has it, like it gives you like more insight into what it's like, and you'll know what to say on the shirt.
Absolutely. And I have neighbors that have, kids or relatives that have some stuff I've never heard of, some pretty obscure diseases. And they're like, hey, we want to have a party. Can you make these shirts for us? And I'm like, yeah, and I'll just charge you $13.07. I'll just give them to you at cost, because I know that if there's not many shirts on there like that now, and again, it sounds like you're profiting off of somebody's bad tidings, but I mean, in a way, you're also bringing awareness to something that is, serious to someone else that's going through it, or a family member's going through it. So, so I make these shirts, and they buy a bunch, and I get, you get the BSR, and then it starts selling, and then you scale it out, and you find other ideas to kind of tie into that. And before you know it, I mean, I have some niches that I'm absolutely dominating in. Like if I get on the front page, it's like I'm most of the listings. Or what I really get jazzed about is like when I look at a listing, and then you know how all the listings have sponsored listings at the bottom of them.
Mhm.
or you may also like at the bottom of them. Or lately, I've noticed they've been doing 4 stars and above at the bottom of them. And like
Mm,
90% of those shirts are my shirt in that same
nice,
category because, like I said, I was the first one to kind of jump on it. So, and
nice.
the excuse that people always give me when I try to convince them to get into this is like, well, I heard there's all these copycats on there. Hell yeah. And if you try to like shut them all down, it's whack-a-mole trying to get rid of them all because they're just going to be there. They're always
The
going to
other
have their little programs. But the thing is, if you're on there for just a few months and you get one review, your shirt will be ranked much higher than theirs. They can put it for $13.07. And I have a lot of them where I look and I find ones that even if they're not a P for P, they're very close. And I'm selling mine for $19.99 and they're selling theirs for $13.07, and I'm killing them with
Yeah,
BSR. So
exactly. And I
there's
was gonna
going to be copycats. It's just going to happen.
And
Just
I was
get
just
used
going
to
to
it.
say that we're all still so early into all of this. We forget because it's like, people that started in 2015 or 2016, and now it's like 2020. So it's like, oh, I'm so late to the game. But it's literally less than 10 years that merch has been around, and it's going to keep going into the future.
Yeah.
So anything that you put up, I mean, you're going to have time on your side. Like if you get a
Oh, yeah.
sale on it, it's going to help you for the rest of your life because your shirt has been up for so long, like when we're like 10, 20 years from now.
Mm-hmm.
So I still get sales from some of my very first shirts. And with me, like I'm not nearly as good at you at picking like, something that's relevant to right now. So like I don't have really anything having to do with anti-racism up, which is like stupid. Like I probably should, but I just, for whatever reason, like I just have so much just evergreen, just, like
Yeah.
about sports or
Which
about,
is always a good policy.
sarcasm or about
Absolutely.
whatever, like all
Yeah.
this like stuff that's always going to be around. And it's like, it's slow going, but at the same time, it's like, I have all of these basic shirts about basic things that are always going to be around, and they've been selling for so long that it kind of helps you keep relevant because you're one of the first ones with the baseball shirt or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think there's something to be said for evergreen as well, and even getting into saturated niches, it really does help once you start to have sales, and especially
Yeah.
with advertising too. It's like you can kind of make yourself.
Yeah, if you're not advertising right now in this environment, you need to be. You need
Yeah.
to figure out a way to get on. And I'm just ecstatic because they just opened up advertising in UK and Germany for me, which I think they did for a lot of people. I mean, with the 6 markets that we now have, and Japan just hit today. I mean, I've got some shirts. I'm like, I saw this and I like shrieked like a little girl. I was like, oh my God, Japan. I have so many designs that already have like Japanese characters on them and samurais and stuff like that, because that stuff sells. I mean, it's just a subculture or culture or whatever. And my guy, who is my illustrator, he can make these types of designs with like really cool looking samurais, and he knows how to write Japanese kanji writing. And so like I had him made a whole bunch of those and they sell really well. So I'm thinking, well, I would imagine they're going to do well in that market, and I have certain shirts that it's like do really well in Germany, Italy, and Spain. I don't know. That one's a bit of a
like some shirts where I'm like, I wonder if it's just a type of humor. Like I have like some stupid like pun type shirts that sold a few times in the US and then do really well in England.
Yeah. It's always funny when that happens. And what always surprises me, and I guess it's just because you have a lot of expatriates that live over there, military, what have you. Like I sell shirts, like I have a lot of state shirts. I have like Alaska, I have Wisconsin, a lot of state pride kind of stuff, things that are particular about those states, something that they're proud of, or some kind of slang they use that nobody else is, uses. Pittsburgh, they have all kinds of slang. I have Pittsburgh Christmas shirts. And they sell like crazy. They sell better in Germany than they do here in the US, or they sell better in the UK than. It's like, why is somebody buying an Alaska shirt in the UK? And why am I selling so many of them over there and so few over here? But like I said, I guess it's just, people that are moving around and they want a little taste of home. And so, I mean, that same thing happened when I was doing FBA in my first 3 years. And I was like going to Buc-ee's convenience store down the street from where I live in Texas. And they have these beaver nuggets. and bolo. Be on the lookout. This is a term we used to use all the time. And I'd buy these beaver nuggets, these like basically like caramel corn, but they call them beaver nuggets, and they were good, really tasty. And you buy them for like $2.99 a bag, and you sell them for like $29 on Amazon because they don't have Buc-ee's up north. So somebody in Minnesota is really missing that. And they're like,
look at that. We're giving FBA tips.
We're doing FBA. We're doing TikTok. We're covering it all.
Covering it all. You will have everything covered. But I was just going to say, well, I was also going to comment that I had the same thing where I was talking about the South, like some kind of referring to some kind of thing people say in the South of the US. Like I was thinking US, but it was selling in other countries. And I'm like, I wonder if they think it's like the South of their country, or like, if they understand it's referring to the US. But anyway, let's answer some of these questions people have posted.
All right.
And guys, if you have more questions, we're wrapping up. I know we don't want to keep Jay too long over.
You got me for however long you need me.
Oh, awesome. Well,
if people want me to stick around, if they don't, then I'll kick myself off.
We never even talked about your numbers, I don't think, except for the Facebook post. So people who are just watching the YouTube show, I mean, Jay has, well, you tell the numbers. You have over 100K tier and...
Yeah, which is not as special as it used to be. Yeah. I mean, I was stunned. I got in my little mastermind group. There's like 24 of us, and I
everybody got it. I
was like, hey, everybody, I got $100,000 or 100,000K tier or 100,000 tier. Get it right. And like but I've only sold like 48,000 shirts. How can this be? And I'm only at like 30,000 right now. What's happening? And then of course everybody's like, yeah, me too. Yeah. Like, oh, okay. So, Amazon obviously is allowing people some room for,
you need to, with all these new
Italy and for Spain and, all the new markets that are coming. And so, I mean, I'm still really happy, and I know I won't fill it up. I am quality over quantity. I mean, I still think it is a numbers game, definitely, but like, I want to do the right numbers. Like, I don't, when I first started, of course, I was just throwing all kinds of crap against the wall to see what would stick. And honestly, a lot of crap sold back then because there just wasn't much competition. Now there's crappy designers that are like making really good money. I was like, wow, you said design for Disney and Target. I'm like, oh, okay. How am I going to beat that?
Time makes a big difference.
You got to up your game.
I still have shirts that are pretty simple that still sell from when I first uploaded. Like, I really think time makes a big difference.
Yeah. Or reviews. If you get a review on it, and you used to get, again, if you had less competition, you were probably getting more reviews back then. But,
I have shirts.
Lily is asking in the group, you mentioned you paid the designer $5 a shirt or $5 for 3 shirts. It's actually for 1 shirt. Now, I know you may have had people on this show, and I know people that I've been following, RJ being one of them. There's some gurus out there, and I have nothing but respect for these guys that have found people that have made amazing designs for $2 a pop, and that more power to you. I tried it several times, and I was never really happy with the quality. And so once I hit that $5 mark, I started noticing appreciably better designs and shirts, and they were selling better. So I was like, I'm happy with this, $5, and I'm giving them 4 to 5 a day. It's $400 a month. And then my other guy, $10. He does 1 to 2 a day. He's making $400 a month. And then of course my lister doing, $1 a listing. And, I have different months with that one, but like, I feel like $5 it's worth it for the work that he does, and $10 to me, I almost feel like I'm ripping this guy off because he makes. And
you can keep people longer term if you're paying them well. Like, they're going to want to stay with you a long time. So
that would be my number one tip. If you have somebody good, take care of them.
Yeah.
I mean, like the week that I took my CSW, I honestly didn't want to focus on anything but that. So I said, look, guys, take a week off, paid vacation, be with your family, and they're going through some tough times now with COVID in the Philippines as well, and in the Ukraine.
Do you do that like extra month of pay at Christmas time?
I do. Oh yeah, absolutely. 13th month, I always pay 13th month, and that's they're so appreciative. And I had one that her niece died. She does Etsy stuff for me, but I've got her. She's kind of like a part-time. So I guess you could say I have like 4.5 VAs. Like, she still does some stuff for TeePublic and Redbubble for me. So I honestly, like, I could probably have my one guy do all of it, but she's just had so many bad things happen with her and her family, I feel like I want to take care of her a little bit. And it's not like I'm probably giving her $200 a month, but it means so much to her. And $200 when you're making, over 10K a month is not all that much. And it's worth it. And her niece just died. And, I was like, look, take a week off, focus on your family. She's like, can I get paid for like the next 4 weeks because I'm going to help her with a funeral? So I paid her the next 4 weeks. And I said, this is a bonus, and, go ahead and still get your weekly pay, but give your sister my best and stuff like that. So, I mean, I've always been like that. I've always been in sales. I've been in sales for, between wine and everything else I've done, it's been 30 plus years. And it's like, if you treat people, your merchandisers, what have you, you're like right now I have like 180 reps that I deal with at my distributor, and I train them, I work with them, but they also deal with like 300 other suppliers. So like, how do you stick out? Just give them basic, kindness and courtesy, and show them you care. Hold on, let me get some water.
Yeah. While you're doing that, let me read you this question's long, so it'll give you time to get your breath back. Christina asked in the Facebook group, so I can't show the comment. It says, how do you work with your VAs on designs? Do you provide examples, and do you do all of the research yourself? Also, what can we expect in terms of paying a VA for a design hourly? What is the fair amount? I have a lot of unique and original ideas, but I'm looking for someone who can execute my ideas in a more creative way than I can. So just looking for advice on hiring. And this whole show, you've done such a great job explaining how VAs, but if there's anything else you want to add.
That to me, that was the game changer for me. The two big game changers for me were 1, VAs, and 2, AMS ads. Once I did that, my business went to the next level, to the next 5 levels, right? So I started really, focusing my attention on like Neil. We all know, we all love Neil Lassen. Yeah. He's a buddy of mine as well. If you're new to the business, by the way, go to merchinformer.com. Don't even get the software. Just go to merchinformer.com and start at Neil's blog at video number 1 and work through video number. He's probably doing like 100 at this point, and just go 1 to 100 and just watch every single one and take copious notes. And that's how I started. That's how I learned, was from Neil and from Chris and from Matt Carlett, a big influence on me. That was a turning point. Also listening to his interview, I had Michael Essick's interview talking about if you sell 1 in 10, that's not bad. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm on the right path. And then Matt started talking about his sales and selling Leap Day shirts on, what was the podcast? Steven Peterson's e-commerce momentum.
Oh, I was going to ask you which podcast. Like I was on Steven Peterson's podcast one time.
Yeah, I've been on there a couple. He interviewed me once when I was at Scanner Monkey, and once afterwards when my house flooded, and I was talking about, not wanting to leave my full-time job, and people thought I was nuts. It's like, well, you can make more money doing this. I was like, yeah, but I like my job. I like going to Italy and New Zealand and California and having a company car and, all these little perks that you get with the job, and wine dinners. Like, I get paid to go have 5-course meals and drink wine with people that find me fascinating because I happen to know a little bit more about wine than they do, and it's like, you make it to where it's not so mysterious to them. And it's like, okay, here's what malolactic fermentation is. And it's like, I'm going to teach you this. And now you're going to sound like a cork dork for your friends. And you're going to, and they're like, oh, okay, cool. So, Steve was telling me, like, why are you not, because I had Scanner Monkey, I had another program, another software thing I was selling. I had all these things going on, and I was getting so burned out on FBA at this point and packing boxes. And at the time, my son was living with me, but then he moved out, and I'm like, I don't have any help, and I got to do this by myself. No, I'm done with this. And then, of course, merch fell into my lap, and it's like, I don't know if I'll ever be able to go into anything else ever again that's not royalty based. To be able to take off 2 weeks on vacation and just money's rolling in. You don't have to put inventory back in there. You have to go back to Walmart and find that same toy at the same price at whatever clearance. It's a godsend.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, I went off on track. So we
I
were
was just
talking about
gonna say,
VAs. Yeah.
I just keep wanting to add in little things as to what you're saying, because I love that you're able to still do a job, but also still do merch. And I think a lot of people are in that position where they have to do that, but you also, it's nice that you want to do that, because I actually, the last few months have been feeling like I really miss working. Like, I think it's because of coronavirus, like everybody was stuck at home and things like that. And I'm like,
Isolation,
man,
absolutely.
miss being part of a team. And I was sales too. I was a loan officer.
Oh, really? I have a
yeah.
finance degree. I used to be a loan officer at a place in Florida when I lived out there.
Yeah, I got in during the
Shark is more like it.
I got in during the financial crisis. It was a little crazy because I was a manager at a bank and everybody was like, "Are you nuts? Like, why would you go? Like, everyone's leaving the mortgage industry." And I was like, "I don't know. I feel like it's the right thing to do." And I went in. So there was like a tenth of the loan officers that there used to be because everyone had quit. And it was right at the beginning of refinances. Like, rates just went down for years. And so I didn't even do purchases that much, which is normally what you think of with loan officers. I just did refinances, like just called everyone at Bank of America. I was like, would you like to refinance? You'll save this amount. Would you like to and I just like all day long. And I made a ton of money from that. And I kind of miss
But
it.
it's feast or famine though, isn't it? Like when the interest rates are high, you're starving. But when the interest rates are low, because I worked at a bank too. I worked at a CNS National, which became something else, which became Bank of America.
Yeah.
And I was a teller, moved into different roles and lending and all that. And then I went off into title insurance. So like title insurance, same thing as the bank. If people are buying houses, everybody needs title insurance. But if nobody's buying houses, then again, it's feast or famine.
Kind of a feast or famine.
Wine. People are drinking a lot more now during COVID. They're just doing it on the retail side. They're doing it at home and have it delivered to their house with Drizzly and other apps and things like that. But they're still buying. Restaurants, on the other hand, they're struggling. You know, of course, wineries are struggling in California because of all the fires and all that. But we really went off on a tangent here. Let's get back to VAs.
I think
the question was, how do I work with my VAs? Right.
Mm-hmm.
That was part one of the question, right?
Yep. And do you do all the research?
I'm not hearing you right now.
Oh, I said, do you do all the research? Can you guys hear me in the audience?
Hold on. Give me a second. All right. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I lost you there for a second.
Yes. Do you do all the research?
Yeah. So exactly. So that's the one thing I probably will never hand over to anybody. I kind of like that part of it. I like researching, looking at trends. Although I will say, like you, I'm not like, that's not like 50% of my business. Trends are maybe 10%. Mm-hmm. I want to have more evergreens too. And, I like seeing every time I open up my daily sales, it's like, oh, that one's still, doing 6, 7 a day. And it's just an evergreen, and doesn't matter what time of year it is, it's going to sell. Yeah. So I do the research, and then I come up with the design ideas. And what I do is I will fill in. I have a spreadsheet that I told you I was going to upload to your group, and I haven't gotten around to it. I'll probably do it like when we get off here. Okay. It's the Excel spreadsheet version of my Google Docs. So I have a column for what's the job number. So it'll have like their initials. RC is his initial _0001 job 1, and then it'll be here's the date that it was assigned. And then I have 3 columns, and they're for links. So one thing that is essential to me is a Dropbox account. And I've got like the 2 terabyte Dropbox account that I will never fill up, but it's got so many designs in it and so many ideas in it. And so I use Dropbox for when I am out in public and I take a picture of something with my phone, and I will upload it because you have your Dropbox app on your phone. I will upload it to my Dropbox, and the file is just merch ideas. Mm-hmm. So then I will share that file with all 3 of my VAs, and then I will take that link, you say share, copy link, and then I put that link on my spreadsheet. And then the second link might be a link to my font database. So I use a service that Christina, your partner, mm-hmm. turned me on to called Creative Fabrica.
Oh,
And so
nice.
now they do this thing where they allow you to organize all your fonts. So I have like one category for thin fonts, this small, one category for bold, one for feminine, one for masculine, one for scary, Asian,
Nice.
Cinco de Mayo, whatever, things that you feel will melt. I'm a bit of a font snob. I over the last 3 years, I've become very particular about the kind of fonts that I use. I really find that it does make a difference,
Oh, yeah.
And, you want to have the fonts that stick out because you're only looking at thumbnails. And I know Ken was the one that kind of talked to me about this. Like, if your shirt's not standing out in a group of like 30 other shirts, they're just going to pass you by,
Yeah.
So you want to find the right fonts and the right design and all that. So I will put like a link that's like, use this Merriweather font. And then the third link may be like another Amazon shirt or a Redbubble or a TeePublic shirt. It's like, this is the placement I want you to do, but I want you to use completely different graphics. And instead of using these 5 words, I want you to replace these 2 with it. So like, then the next column will be my instructions on what I want done with that design. So to be like, cheer mom, and that's in bold. And then everything after that is like pink font, cursive, use this font, look at the placement on this Amazon listing. And it's like, I know I probably go into more detail than most. Like, I look at RJ used to do a deal where he would like share his research, and I would always enjoy seeing his design process and his ideas and what he came up with. But he really trusted his designers. He just he would just put the link to an Etsy shirt and go, do something like this, but make it your own, make it better, do a remix on it. I can't do that. I've got to basically be able to say, I want this font to look this way. And I guess like I like to be creative. I just don't have the talent for Photoshop, and I don't have the patience to learn anything, other than learning how to use Dropbox and, Evernote and all these different apps that I use to kind of pull all this together into this one central hub. So that spreadsheet is my communication with them. And when I hire these VAs, the first thing I ask them is like, how do you normally communicate? Do you use Facebook Messenger? Do you use WhatsApp? How do you get paid? How do you like to get paid? Do you use PayPal? Do you use, there's also Zoom, which is XOOM. A lot of them like to be paid that way in the Philippines. So you get all that stuff down and you create a file for each VA, and then you just basically make it easy for them to do business with you. And so I have one guy that, he will send me designs through Upwork because I hired him on Upwork, upwork.com. Really great site if you want to hire designer VAs or whatever. I mean, they do everything there. It's not just for, design. It could be anything, office assistant, what have you. So he communicates everything through Upwork because that's way Upwork prefers him to do it. So he'll send me 5 design files, 5 PNGs, and I'll look at them and I go, revise this, change that, scratch that out, add this element to it. And then he will send the revisions to me and I go, perfect, good to go. And then he'll email all 4 of those designs to me. My other designer, on the other hand, we do everything through Dropbox. So I'll say, here on your spreadsheet, here's what I want you to create. I want you to do an astronaut in space, but the background is Van Gogh's Starry Night painting. And so he'll do that. He does a lot of photography art. It's amazing. He can take different photographs and recolor everything and recalibrate everything. And like this, the remixing that this guy can do is incredible. And so he'll send me the design he'll send me a Gmail to my Gmail account. We communicate through Gmail, and it'll say, here's the link to the 4 designs you requested. And I'll go into Dropbox and I'll go through them one by one. And then I'll send them a Gmail back saying, change these 2 designs this way. Here are the revisions that I want. And then he'll send me another email with a link to the 2 revisions. And then I download those designs onto my laptop. And I start everything from one file that just says all design uploads. And the first thing I do is I move it from that folder to another folder that says merge to upload. And that's where I have like the links to each of the images that my lister now can reference, where it's like, C drive : / merge to upload / cheer_mom. And then that just makes it really easy for me to upload. And then I upload everything, and then I put it into another file saying uploaded to merch, not other pods. And then I go to the TeePublic, and then I go to Redbubble. So I kind of just work my way down the line. So that's kind of my process with the VAs. But my communication with the VAs is always, Gmail, or the young lady that works for me, she prefers to do WhatsApp, because I keep trying to send her messages through Facebook. But she'll get them like 3 days later because she doesn't check her Facebook that often. I was like, "Is there something we can do to speed this up?" And she's like, "Well, I'm on WhatsApp, and they got like the 50,000 digit long phone number you got to remember to put in there. And once you get that in, then it's like really easy to communicate in real time." So you just set up the communication from the beginning. You set up the payment from the beginning. But in terms of finding them, it's like I said, it's two things. It's Online Jobs PH or Upwork. And then once I get them situated, it's really just like clockwork. Every morning I, get up, and, my 8 o'clock in the morning is their 9 o'clock at night. And that's usually when they do their best work and revisions. And so I'll send him something on Upwork saying, "Here are the changes." And like 5 minutes later, he'll go, "Okay, done." And then 10 minutes later, I'll get the revisions, and I go, "Perfect." Send them. He sends them, and it's like the next day. Amazing. So that's like the magic hour for me, is between 8 and 10, because they work really well between like 9 at night and 11 at night or midnight or whatever. Some of them are up to like 2 in the morning, Then I got the guy in the Ukraine. He's a little different, but and I got a software developer in Australia. It's
amazing. You have been so helpful today. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Did I answer all? Like, she had like 3 prongs to that question.
Oh, it's okay. And then we got more questions too. So I don't know, but we can wrap this up pretty soon. But Lily's asking, do VAs go into your account? No. Okay.
No. My Etsy account, yes, absolutely. That one is Etsy is for a while. My design was on autopilot. It was great. Once I got her set up, and like she is on my. I will say this: my VAs have the privilege of using a lot of cool tools and resources and apps. Canva. I use Canva a lot for creating mock-ups for my shirts for Etsy. So she's become like this whiz with Canva, and she'll create all my mock-ups and upload them to Etsy and upload my keywords and all that. So I created instructions that are like 10 pages long that took me all night to like, okay, step 1, go into this. Step 2, go into Dropbox. Step 3, put it on Canva, put it on a gray shirt, put it on a white shirt, put it on a black shirt. I basically wrote it all out. I put screenshots on it. A lot of people, they do videos. I'll do videos too, but I'll use the videos to just kind of support what I already printed. So it's like that way there's never any questions. They just can, if they have a question, like refer back to your document and it'll be on there. So, no, nobody accesses my merch account. My first person that worked with me, she did. She's in America. She was somebody that worked with me at Scanner Monkey for 4 years. And it's not Cordelia. It was Ashley. Yeah. A lot of people know Ashley, and she was, the one that she was already doing good merch business before I even got into it. So I just hold my hand while you do this.
Yeah, it's totally different if they like are working at your business in your location.
Yeah. But they access all my stuff, like Creative Fabrica. All of my VAs have access to. They have all the fonts that they need, all the graphics you can get from. I can't say highly enough things about that. Canva, same thing. They all have access to Canva, Dropbox. So I give them all the tools they need, but I'm the one that puts everything on the spreadsheet and uploads it to Amazon. I don't let anyone touch that.
Ariel, I love your comment. He said, "Thanks, Jay and Helen, for the great and interesting show. It fired me up. So many ideas in my brain that has been rusted started to move again." And thank you for helping my countrymen. Ariel, you are amazing. So he's in the Philippines, and he's been on the show before. He also is a very successful merch account. I'm sure you're at 100K too, right, Ariel? I'm pretty sure.
I know I've seen his name before. We all run in the same circles, right?
He's very successful, so I don't think your brain has rusted. But he did have a baby recently, so it may have gotten a little preoccupied.
That's not rusted. That's just you're just running on 2 brain cells from lack of sleep.
Exactly.
In there, yeah. Absolutely.
But thank you for the nice words, and I agree. Thank you so much, Jay. And I agree also, like, thank you for hiring people. That is definitely an area I need to work on. I don't know what it is, why I don't want to hire people. There's no
really
reason.
tough. I mean, I honestly, I'm a bit of a control freak, and I'm working on it. I feel like I need to go to some kind of AA meeting for control freaks, but I would probably try to control the meeting. So, but like we have such a great relationship now. And then my VAs know me so well that it's like, I mean, it's very rare that I will say all 5 of these designs are good to go. But if I'm making any kind of revision, it's an easy one that they can do in like 2 seconds. Usually it's like, hey, this is kind of covering this word, this graphics. You can just kind of move this up like a couple inches or whatever. But they know me now. They know the types of designs that I look for. So so it's good. There's a question here in the group about these great designers, why wouldn't they want to do their own t-shirt, or do they? That is an awesome question, and certainly something that I thought about quite a bit when I first hired the talent that I got. And here's the thing. I'm the one taking the risk, not them. Mm-hmm. Like, I have 24,000 designs. Do all 24,000 of those designs sell? No, but I paid for almost every single one of them. Very few designs I've done myself on Canva, very few. Yeah. So I paid a lot of money to get these designs up, and these guys have made a decent amount of money off of me. But all the designs that I sell, I have 9 others that don't. So do these guys want to spend the time to open a store, do all the marketing and do all this stuff? No, they just want to do what they do. They want to create these designs and get paid for it. So they do the design work and I do everything else. Just kind of like we turn the designs over to Amazon and Amazon does everything else. So I will say this, one of my designers, he told me, is like, I've never had anybody come to me with the kind of ideas that you have, which I took as the highest compliment. And he's like, can I please use your design, not to sell, but just to sell my because I know he works for other people. It's not just me, and I'm not going to like deny him that. So he uses my designs in his little portfolio blog.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So, and I don't have a problem with that. It's not, he's not selling the design. Now, I will say this, and I found this very interesting. Like, I don't even look for my copycats anymore on Amazon. It's a waste of time. They're just going to be there. It's something we have to live with. And if your design is good and you're on there first and you get a review or 2, then it's just, you're going to do well. Yeah. TeePublic. When I first got on TeePublic and I started moving my best-selling designs over, when I'm researching keywords myself and I look up some keyword, like I type in my title for my merch.
And it comes up.
And my exact design comes up using all my same bullet points, all my same titles. TeePublic is terrible with that. Yeah. But here's the upside. I will send TeePublic an email and it's like, here's my Amazon listing, and you can see here is the date that it was posted, September 10th, 2017. Yeah. I can't see what the TeePublic person when they posted it, but I know it's not before when I posted it. Right. The guys that are working at TeePublic they can see when it's been uploaded. So I have taken down 24 people. Like, I've had accounts removed, and they take it very seriously. They don't just take down the offending design. They terminate their accounts. Wow. And I mean, at first I felt kind of bad about it, but then I was like, you know what, screw that guy. He not only did he have one of my designs, he has like a couple dozen of my designs.
And making money on it all these years.
And exactly. And I didn't know anything about TeePublic. So it's like, So I got on and took my rightful, nice. Heir to the throne, whatever have you. So, but yes, no, they don't do their own t-shirts because they don't want to. They just want to make designs, and that's what they're trained to do. So, all right, next question.
This has been amazing. I mean, it's already been an hour and 20 minutes. So he wants to stay. I love this.
I'll keep going.
At this. Oh my God, it makes me so happy.
My kids, my daughter's at marching band practice, and my other daughter is making herself Chinese food. And so she may come in here in a little bit and let me take whatever it is she's making. So, I mean, I got time.
Well, this is guys.
I'm just glad I'm not studying for 4 hours. I'd rather be doing
comment and thank Jay for this, because this is really like above and beyond. Sure. This is the kind of thing. And speaking of which, people say why would anyone give tips and everything? I love it when people are just so free with their information. Like, you've just been so free with help, and you're helping your competitors. So thank you. Thank you for that.
Somebody actually put up something about Scanner Monkey that's already gone up about, we used to do this thing where if you've ever seen the show Family Guy, there was an evil monkey in Family Guy, and they made like a little action figure of the evil monkey, and he's like, pointing at something, like he points at Chris in the show, if anybody has ever seen Family Guy. And we used to use that. We'd all go looking for this monkey at, I think it was sold at, it's either CVS or Walgreens. And we would find the monkey, we'd buy it. And then when we did our bolos, be on the lookout, like, hey, look for this garden hose at Walmart. It's like $9 selling for 90. And you'd put the little toy monkey pointing at it. Oh. That was like the Scanner Monkey kind of motto in a way. And so like she just said, she sold her evil monkey on eBay. I hope you made some money off of it. I still have one of mine, like mint condition, still in the package. I can't bring myself to get rid of it because it's such a great little memento souvenir of my time at Scanner. Walgreens, yes, there you go. Okay.
Aw, that's awesome.
So, do we have any other ones from Facebook?
Such a small world. Like you get all the people
really
from
is.
FBA, eBay, like we all evolve over time. It's so fun to see everyone's progression and everything that they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the people I still have people that are trying to friend me because they see that I'm I finally had to take myself down as an admin of Scanner Society, because they're like, oh, I want to learn more about inventory and finding. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't do that anymore. And more power to anybody that does it. I think it's great. It's a great money maker. You can make millions of dollars doing it. And I know some people that have made millions of dollars doing it, but it's just, I don't have the time to do that stuff anymore. And this is just way more fun.
Well, we're so glad that you decided to do merch because you're helping all of us. So thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. If you have any other questions, I'm willing to hang out and answer any others.
Lily's saying totally inspiring. Joy's saying thank you, Jay. Debbie saying love listening to Jay. So thank you guys.
Another Scanner Monkey.
Yep.
So like I said, get yourself an AMS account, get yourself a VA, start simple. Just like, hey, one design a day. If you don't have the money for it, but I will say this, when you're getting started, for those of you who are tuning in that are just getting started, do yourself a favor. Don't plan on making any money your first, at least 6 months.
Yeah.
Just turn around everything 1307. I don't do that anymore. I don't price anything unless I'm making it. I'll price things where I'm making at least $1. I don't do 1307 anymore because I don't have to. But when you're starting out, it's a great strategy just to get your shirt ranked.
I've always thought
to spend money on all these, fancy programs. I do now because I can, but it's so easy to start this with basically no money at all. I mean, you're just like, designing shirts. If you can get into Canva and use their templates, you're paying, I think that's $10 a month. That's what you pay, and then when you get to where you're like, okay, I mean, some of my best selling shirts are white font and that's it. And dark shirts, we all know dark shirts sell better than light shirts, but if you have a shirt that's doing really, really well on a dark, you better get on there and reverse it like you're doing a negative of it and put it on some light shirts, because I'm here to tell you it'll sell probably 1 for every 3 that you do of the dark shirts, but it
still sells
in your pocket. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. So, yeah, I've done that before too.
I'm not doing KDP. I have 2 books up, 2 journals that I used designs for my merch shirts, and I think I've sold like a whopping 3 of those. And I think it's amazing. KDP, I think, is a great opportunity. And I know people that are making really good money doing it.
Yeah.
Again, it's just a time thing. I have so much time. And I think, quite honestly, I just really enjoyed this side of it, and getting on TeePublic and doing it again. And it's been fun. But I would love to be able to, if I didn't have a day job, I would be all over KDP. Absolutely.
I think it's smart to keep a balance though, because I think sometimes it can be just too much. Like, I think that's what I'm running into, where it's like just so much, just merch. And then with doing the show and everything too, like, I think it is nice to have like other things. Like, I've been making sure I spend time with friends and doing other things, and spend a lot of time outside this summer. Like, you need to switch things up and not have it be so like focused on one thing.
Yeah. I mean, okay. So I've got a day job. I got my 2 kids that live here, that, I got to get them off to school, and I'm generally the one that gets up early and gets them all ready. And then there's the day job. And then I come home and reward myself after dinner with doing some merch stuff. I say reward myself because I do enjoy doing it still, and coming up with different ideas or seeing something out in the wild. I call it out in the wild. Like, I go and shopping with my daughter because she's not driving yet. And like, I'm hobbling around behind her, and I'm literally just got my phone out. And another app that I use all the time, and if anybody wants, I can send a list of all the things that I use. But I love
do that, and the spreadsheet. That'd be amazing.
Yeah,
and Teresa, we do see your comments.
I'll do the list of apps too. But Evernote is something I always have just ready to go. So it's like, I have a file. It's like, merch ideas, illustrations, merch ideas, vector drawings, different categories. So I'll open it up and it's like, I'll see a shirt and I'll just kind of type it in there. Oh, here's a really cool cruise shirt that I saw. I want to do that, but I want to switch whatever around. So like, I used to be like all about just buying lists just to try different things out. Like Michael Essany's got a great newsletter where he like gives you different ideas. Like, oh, Mortician. I never thought about putting up a Mortician shirt. And then I put it up and then I'm selling it, And
I commented on that. He did like vegan and Halloween like a couple years ago. And I was just like, oh, I never thought of that.
Yeah,
and exactly. I put a few up and they still
zombies. Yeah.
They still sell I looked up like phrases that I forget how I looked it up, but some kind of like catchphrases or something the vegans say, or like I don't know. I looked up stuff and then I combined it with Halloween. So one of them was like flesh is for zombies or something. I don't remember what I did, but it was somehow like this vegan thing with having to do with not wanting to eat meat.
I'm always scared of like outing somebody's design. I mean, I used to get in trouble for outing people's products when I was on Scanner Mug. It's like, you shared my bolo, now I won't make any money. But design wise, one of my favorites that I saw was it's a vegan zombie. But instead of saying brains, he's saying grains, and he's like, there's like a loaf of bread or something, or maybe it was cauliflower. I don't remember what it was, but it was just kind of
so funny. Yeah,
cross stitches are always interesting. So Teresa, there's another ex-Scanner Monkey too. She's asking, the only one commenting on YouTube.
We did see here. Let me post one of your YouTube.
I don't know
comments.
Where people are commenting from.
So Teresa, we did see it. It was just other comments were coming in, and we probably didn't say anything. But she said, "Thank you for this for the spreadsheet." So who
is 3C on the road? That picture looks familiar.
That's Teresa.
Oh, because it's also showing up as Teresa Ontiveros.
She went on Facebook because she felt like she was the only one on YouTube. So she went over to Facebook. So Teresa, but we do see you both places, Teresa. So whichever one you prefer.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah.
So yeah, like I said, get yourself on, sell it for 13. Buy 25 shirts yourself. Get tiered up, because I'm telling you, and you probably hear this all the time, maybe, I don't know, but like, you're going to want to get as many designs up as you possibly can. Now we got all these new markets to deal with before October 1st, because come October, you're going to be swimming in it. There's just, that's generally when it starts. I mean, there's some business. I'm actually doing worse this month than I did last month. Last month I made like 12K in royalty, and I was stunned. I was like, how? Like, I always thought traditionally July and August have been my slowest months.
Very different this year with everybody being home. Like everybody's shopping online this year.
I think once school started, it kind of went back to somewhat normal. Now it's like I've got this roller coaster of, if I get less than 100 a day, I get pissed. That's how spoiled you get once you get past a certain level. And then I go into my little mastermind group, and it's like I see these screenshots of like, I only got 500 a day. It was a really terrible day. And I'm like,
I love it.
Doing way better than you,
There's just no limit. That's the thing. Because I remember when it first came out, and people are like, "Oh, well, how could you, as more people are joining, like, how can you ever sell that much?" And I just kept knowing, I'm like, there's no limit to this. Like,
there really isn't.
And you guys are proof of it. I mean,
there's only a limit to your time, That's why it's always good to have somebody helping you out. Time is the most valuable resource in this business. It's not money. You don't need money. I mean, it helps scale without a doubt, but like getting started, I kind of cheated because I had somebody who was already doing fairly well, and she was working for me, and but I mean, ultimately, if you just do some stuff on Canva and do it yourself, text-based stuff, you'd be surprised. I mean, go on Merch Informer. Look at some of the best-selling designs. Take out Disney, take out Marvel, take out Star Wars, and look
I
at some
think
of the best-selling designs. They're not that difficult to make.
The hardest part is the first 6 months or even the whole first year, because it's like you have to make it through all those smaller tiers first, and once you can get through that, it just picks up steam, and every time you get tiered up, you have thousands more slots available. So just getting through that first year is really, if you can do that, you're golden.
Oh yeah. The first year is the tough. It really, I mean, everybody says it, and it's absolutely true. It is a marathon.
Yeah.
If you're just getting started now, I mean, it's a good time to start because, your business generally is 5 times better in December.
Yeah.
But your first 6 months, you're learning things and just be a sponge. I mean, I everybody says, oh, multitasking, you should never multitask because you're doing like 3 things terribly. And I'm always preaching that I multitask like crazy. But if you do it properly, like you're in your car, like I'm in my car all the time because I'm driving to accounts. I'm going to restaurants. I'm talking to buyers. So like Houston's a big town. So just getting from my house to my first account could probably be 45 minutes. I can knock out a podcast. I could knock out, a YouTube video. I have certain people that I listen to that I respect. And now I'm trying to really learn more about the non-merch side of things, the Redbubble and TeePublic. So my videos have been more about that and how to rank better there. And so like, just go into Merch Informer, go through every single one of the videos, go to, listen to some YouTube videos. And if you want a list of them, I can give you that as well. People that I followed that have helped me out. And I'm just like when I was a scanner, I'm like, I just want to pay it forward. I had so many people that helped me out so much. And a lot of them just went in different directions. Like Matt, I can tell you, Matt, like he crushes it. Matt Carlett. And I don't know. I think you've had him on your show, haven't you?
I asked him, but I think it never quite worked out, the timing of it. I don't think he's ever been on this show. Well, but now, if he ever wants to, he's invited.
Yeah, I mean, like I'll try to get him on.
I did ask him, so.
Okay. Well, let me see what I can do.
Ask him again for me.
I've got his ear. So, but yeah, I mean, Matt is he was so encouraging in those frustrating early months, and they were really frustrating. I was like, these are good designs. Why are they not selling? And then I would just show them my design. And that's another thing. If you can get a mastermind group and make it small, it's one thing to like be in like your group's 11,000 people. If I go in there and I share a design, I'd be really scared that everybody's going to copy it and whatever. But if you've got a group of like 11, 12, 20, whatever, it's like, hey, can everybody critique this and tell me what I'm doing wrong? If I'm missing some keywords or whatever, best money I ever spent. Honestly, I went to the merch conference when it was in Seattle, and I sat down with Ken. We all know Ken Reel. Yeah. He's the merch fairy. And I just pulled up some of my designs. And this guy, I mean, has a bit of a graphic design from like a sign company he used to work for. Yep. And, he's got good designers working for him. I was like, why is this not selling better? And he's like, well, and then he just kind of went through one by one, you need to change these colors out. You need to change this out, this out, this out. And so like, I learned so much in just a half an hour with him that I would put up against maybe 6 months of listening to something online. Yeah. Those in-person thing, which, it sucks. We're in this COVID pandemic right now, and nobody's doing any kind of conference, right? But when things return to that semi-normal phase, spend the money, go there, meet people, carpool, buy them lunch. It's amazing, this stuff you can learn. We can learn a lot of stuff doing this stuff, and it's very interactive and all that. But like just sitting down with somebody and just going through. And
I would say, don't be afraid to ask, because sometimes people are like, well, how would I find that mastermind? Or how do I find people? Sometimes you can just like comment on people's posts and kind of start to get to know them that way. And then
put up a post. That's it.
And then just try to send them a message.
A young lady put a post up in a big group saying, I'm at 20,000. I want 10 people that are also either 20,000 or above that we can help each other out. Amazing. And I'm just like meekly raise my hand and send her a PM. And then I'm in. She's like, oh,
I did that. I did that at a conference. Have you ever been to the Unconference?
No, but I've heard of it.
Okay, well, I went to it, and it was right before I started Merch Money, and I did a post in the group of everybody at the Unconference, and I said, I'm at tier 2K on merch. Does anybody want to talk about merch at this conference? And everybody all weekend came up to me. They asked me if they could join my group. And I'm like,
Yeah.
my group? Like, I didn't have a group. I was like, what are you talking about? And then that's how I started Merch Money a few months later, because everybody wanted to join my group that didn't exist. So
Yeah. Look at you now.
yeah, that's how I started
11,000
it.
strong. That's
But
awesome. Yeah.
it's just putting yourself out there. You'll find people, you'll be able to do it. And Teresa's right. Yes, we do have a mastermind. If you want a smaller group, we have like 50 people in there. So that makes it a little smaller.
And it doesn't have to be, I mean, I know there's paid stuff out there too.
Yeah.
If you don't want to spend the money, don't spend the money. Just
make your own.
People that are either the same boat or a little, I mean, honestly, like my group, I may be in the bottom 20%, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I haven't looked at all their numbers all the time, and we share numbers a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But again, we share so much, and it's gotten to where like your group is, where we're Etsy and Redbubble and TeePublic and using Orbit Kit and using these things to scale your business, so we can all kind of step up together, and it's been extremely helpful. I mean, I like the big groups too, but again, there's just so much people are willing to share in those. If you can find people on the same level or maybe a little bit higher, that's my dad always said. I was like, just find people that are smarter than you and surround yourself by them, and that's how you grow.
That's what I do. Like I started the group. I was at tier 2K every week interviewing somebody doing better than me, and it's amazing. I mean, thank you and everybody else who's been on the show to help me.
Can you see how many people are on the show? Like, does it show you like the number of people that are hanging out on Facebook or YouTube?
It's gone in and out. It's been around 30 or so at a time.
Okay.
So cool. We've been a little out of the habit. Like for a while, we were really good about always doing Monday, but we've missed a few. And last weekend was Labor Day, so people are a little out of the habit.
Well, I'll tell you this, and I know I said stick around for a little bit longer. My wife just handed me a note. We
got to go. Okay.
We got some stuff being delivered. I didn't realize, so I'm going to have to take my leave. But I will say this: I'm in most of the groups, most of the merch groups. I'm definitely in Merch Money. I'm easy to find, Jay Bayne. If somebody wants to private message me and has like a question or like give me a resource or what have you, I'm happy to help people out. Like I said, I'm a big believer in karma, and what goes around comes around. And I hope I can help other people, just like a lot of people help me out. I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for Chris Green, Neil Lassen, Matt Carlett. The list goes. I can't even begin to. It would take me an hour to write down all the people that have helped me out. So I'm happy to help others out, and if you want to have me back on, I'm happy to do that as well. And I appreciate the Scanner Monkey folks chiming in. It's nice to see some familiar faces.
Well, thank you so much, Jay, and have a wonderful night. And thank you guys all for watching. We'll see you next week.
All right.
Bye, everybody. See you.